Welcome to Retail's Most Wanted, the podcast that examines the latest issues related to organized retail crime and how retailers and policymakers are fighting back against today's organized crime syndicates. Retailers have spent years focused on prevention policies, training, and procedure, but when a crisis happens in store, what matters most is the response. Today, we're going to talk with Kenny Kelly, the founder of Silent Beacon. He's going to talk to us a little bit about this shift we're seeing in real-time safety technology and why wearable panic buttons may become the new standard in retail. That conversation is coming up right after this word from our sponsor. Retail's Most Wanted is brought to you in partnership with LVT, securing physical environments through intelligent automation. Learn more at lvt.com. That's lvt.com. Kenny Kelly is our guest today. He's the founder of Silent Beacon. We're talking about wearable technology, sort of panic buttons. Kenny, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, tell me about these devices and how you got involved and created Silent Beacon.
You know, we saw a real need for safety devices outside just using your phone or having to go over to a wall and press a button. Something that can utilize the technology already inside your smartphone, can cast a wider net involving more security, safety, police, 911, paramedics, something that can kind of do it all while you just focus on getting yourself out of the emergency situation is kind of where this was birthed. It started off with consumers, it started off with lone workers, and then we quickly realized because of kind of the way the world is moving that retail employees needed the same exact protection as someone who's going out, let's say a home healthcare worker.
So I know you've said in the past that workplace violence shouldn't be treated as just an HR issue anymore. Why do you believe it's fundamentally a risk management challenge for retailers?
Well, you know, we're talking about safety of people. We're not just talking about policies and procedures. So while those are very helpful and they kind of give you the muscle memory into what you're supposed to do or how you're supposed to act in those situations, when stuff hits the fan, you just have to focus on getting yourself out of the emergency situation. And that's really what Silent Beacon brings to the table. You press one button, it does all the heavy lifting for you. You focus on getting yourself out of your emergency situation. And then those policies and other things can kind of kick in once you're safe or once you've established that 911 has been called.
Retailers have always had policies and training. What's changed in the threat environment that's forcing companies now to rethink their approach?
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, smash and grab. There's situations now post-COVID where people wear masks in the store and you really don't know what their intentions are. It just seems the overall vibe, and maybe that was the lull in people just socializing when COVID occurred, and now they're just going into stores and not having the same mannerism pre-COVID. So there's a lot of factors playing into it, and lawmakers are taking notice of that right now as we're seeing laws in New York and Washington State kind of adapting things to keep retail, hospitality, hotel workers safer.
When incidents happen in stores, where do traditional safety strategies fall short?
You know, they help you prepare in exact situations. A fire drill, we lock the doors if this X, Y, and Z happens. But there's so many kind of niche incidences that can happen now in situations that people find themselves in that you just want a fail-safe solution that will get you help exactly when you need it, right? You don't have to go through a manual. You don't have to think I go to this wall and press this button, or I go over here and enter this code. You want to press a button, find safety, and then tell 911 or a 24-hour monitoring center what the problem is so they can get help to you immediately. You want that instant communication. You don't want a silent panic button under a desk that nobody knows whether to send the paramedics, the police, or a fire truck.
So explain to me how a wearable panic button actually works in a real situation. What happens between the moment, say, when an employee presses the button and when help arrives?
With the Silent Beacon solution, it's pre-stored in there. The phone numbers that are called, the contact information of the users that you have around you that can receive these alerts. We also have a beacon-to-beacon alert. So you set all these things up in the portal, and now the person is in an emergency situation. They press that. What happens? It's going to call 911. What also happens? It's sending your location with a customized message to all these emergency contacts, whether that's head of security, head of your department, managers, loved ones. It's going to send out it's going to cast out that net of people who are going to receive your alert. simultaneously you talk via two-way into the microphone. So let's just say it's a situation where someone is becoming aggressive and you want to calm them down. There's actually a silent mode. So you don't see the LEDs, you don't hear the speaker. You can just calm the situation down, but help is still on the way. It's still being responded and listened to, so you can, focus on getting yourself out of that emergency.
So how does this kind of technology fit into existing loss prevention and store operation systems?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways it can fit in. There's about five, it's a suite of product, right? We have enterprise safety solutions. There's about 5 products under it that can fall into different buckets of that. We have a mass alert portal. So if people need to alert people either to come to work, not come to work, there's a weather condition, you can kind of have that in that bucket. You have the emergency panic button. You have our applications. You have our dashboard for admins or managers or security at companies who they can manage that, keep people compliant, make sure people's beacons are charged. So it kind of gives these different buckets to put everything in, which overlapping evolves to the whole ecosystem of safety at the company.
You've mentioned New York and Washington State will require panic buttons for larger retailers, I think by 2027. Do you see that as an isolated policy or a sign of where this is headed industry-wide and across the country?
I think the people that work in retail have been heard. I think legislators are passing laws in different states because they are seeing these videos online. They are hearing the calls from the people who work at retail. And we feel that the CEO who is protected, the employees that are sitting in that store, opening it up on a Saturday morning and they don't know who's outside their gates, they deserve the same protection. So we just want to bring that technology to everybody at a company and keep them safer.
So retailers are generally practical decision makers. Tell me about the ROI argument beyond compliance.
There's a lot of elements go in besides just the ROI of financial magnitude, right? You have peace of mind for the employees. You have churn risk for employees. And these tools of a safety suite allow the employees to feel safer, right? I implore anybody who runs a company, go out and talk to your employees and see what they want. They want added protection, and that doesn't come at a severe cost. Our product's very cheap, it's very affordable, it can be scaled instantly, and it can be across all departments of a company. So if you have the retail workers, or you have the people collecting boxes or shipping, or you have the people in upper management, our solution can fit them as well. So it really fits into kind of what's going on day to day in the life of a retail employee.
So for a retail CEO then, or an operation leader today, what's the most important question that person should be asking about workplace safety right now?
They should just have meetings with their staff and say, where do you think our safety and security is not meeting your needs? What will give you peace of mind? What will add to the arsenal of tools at your disposal when you're faced with an emergency? Maybe they have the lock key at the front. Maybe they have a deadbolt on the back door. What will make them feel safer? And then when you have that list, then you can make your decision, whether it's silent beacon, a non-lethal weapon, whatever it is, you can make that decision based on that information. So it's all about asking first.
And Kenny, if people want to find out more about Silent Beacon, where can they find you?
Please come visit silentbeacon.com. We have a lot of information, a lot of logos up there from companies in retail and other industries. So we'd love to at least demo you for free and let you know how we can help.
Kenny Kelly from Silent Beacon, thanks for joining us today on Retail's Most Wanted.
Marty from Retail's Most Wanted. Kenny Kelly appreciates it.
All right, takeaways from today. Retail is a customer-facing business, but it's also a workplace for millions of people across the country. So as safety challenges evolve, the conversation is shifting from policies that are just on paper to tools employees can use in real time. Kenny Kelly has been our guest today. We're grateful to have had him here to share his expertise. And that's it for this episode of Retail's Most Wanted. Thanks to our presenting sponsor, LVT. Don't forget to hit that subscribe or follow button so you can catch each new episode. We drop one every 2 weeks. We're also on X, we're on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube. There's no excuse not to find us if you want us. Thanks for being with us, everyone. And as always, keep up the good fight.